Hey there, and welcome to another video. Today I thought I'd try something different. I've been sort of toying with, some different ideas and what I can put on the channel. I decided to come up with something very originally titled Back to Back. And yeah, the main thing about this is that I wanted to grab two albums in a discography, um, consecutive albums, obviously. That sort of mark a period of change in a band's history slash discography. And some bands will obviously have radical changes from album to album, whereas some bands may have sort of subtle changes. Today I opted to go for Immortal from Norway and their two albums, Blizzard Beasts and At the Heart of Winter. Um, you know, Blizzard Beasts in itself is a change, say, from Battles in the North. I think, particularly in riffing styles. And if we go to At the Heart of Winter, a quite a big shift, both in personnel and just in general, like the sound and the style of riffs and stuff. So yeah, I'll try it. I'll see how it goes. But yeah, I just thought I'd try something different rather than going down the road of continuous videos about rankings and stuff like that and collection updates. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. If it doesn't work out, doesn't work out. Not the end of the world. So yeah, just go through my little spiel here. So initially we have Blizzard Beasts, which was released in February 1997 on Osmos Productions. What I recall of this album when it came out was obviously coming off the back of Battles in the North, an absolutely ferocious and fast black metal album. This one sort of, when I heard it, I was sort of shocked by the production. It sounded a lot more polished and a lot more death metal inspired. Quite a bit of Morbid Angel, I thought. There was a studio change. Obviously, the first three albums recorded at Grieg Harlan Studios. With this one, they went to a place called Sigma Studios, which I'd never heard of. And this album's got its detractors, based on the production and stuff, and it is a very patchy production. It's sort of one of those jobs where you get albums where it sounds like it's recorded in two distinct sessions or periods, because you don't get any matchup or consistency in sound. Total Death by Dark Throne is a prime example, where you got songs that sound quite different to certain other songs. This is sort of a similar case here. It's their fastest album as far as running time. It's only a 28-minute album, just all guns blazing, ultra fast. Demonaz's last album, for Immortal, up until what was the last one? Northern Chaos Gods. And then Abath obviously taking over the reins after that. And I think Demonaz sort of taking on more of a managerial sort of lyric writer role. But my initial response to the album, I bought it. I remember it was this etched jewel case version, which of course I cracked, very soon after. I definitely didn't like it as much as Battles in the North. It just didn't seem to have too much depth to it, because the riffing style was so defined and more death metal and more chunky and chuggy. It didn't seem like like I felt on Battles in the North that there was this sort of mist or fog you had to part to hear what was going on, and you had to work for it, whereas this was a lot more immediate. I forgot to mention that first album with Horg on drums. As you would know, Abath played drums on the previous album, also the previous two albums, sorry. So different drum style, different drum sound. It was quite triggered. Also in the production, the drums are quite low and very small sounding. Not much power. It's a pretty good drum performance, but just in general, the production isn't that fantastic. Demon Az's guitar riffing has all of a sudden just got way more defined and palm muted, more chunky, and an obvious Morbid Angel influence. Now, was that influence coming off the back of them touring with Morbid Angel on the Domination tour? Who knows? I'd never really picked up much of a Morbid Angel influence from Immortal prior to that. They were always their faster stuff was, they had like similar like time signatures, but their riffing style was always their own. But yeah, it's a very fast whirlwind of an album. One of the things that I think a song like Mountains of Might sort of says where they're going to go on the next album. It's the only sort of epic on this album. The rest of like says here, 2 minutes, 4 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. They're all very just get out type songs. Probably Abbot's most frostbitten, grim vocal performance, I think. There's some classic sort of little noises he makes, like whoa, all that kind of stuff. All the things that I love about Abbot's sort of earlier vocal style. He just nails it on this one. Yeah, so we'll go through the songs here. We've got a sort of a pointless intro with Abbott sort of screaming random lyrics and stuff. We go into the blasting Blizzard Beasts, which is just pretty relentless. Goes into some more chunkier riffs, sort of heading out into the end. Nebula Ravens Winter's a really interesting song, actually, and pretty sure he redid it. I remember seeing a re-recording of him doing it with his solo band. But on this, yeah, a lot more sort of raw and chaotic, but a very good song. Suns That Sank Below is probably my favorite song on this album, behind Mountains of Might. Just because it's, I don't know, there's something about it. It's quite a simple riff in the that initial breakdown, that yes, some quite, simple sort of palm muted sort of riffs, but it's very catchy. Battlefields is this is where the production sort of starts getting a bit weird. A song like Battlefields and a song like Noctambulant is when it gets quite patchy. Battlefields, it's a cool song, not probably one of the weaker songs off the album, I think. Then we get to the centerpiece of the album, which is Mountains of Might. Obviously, like I said before, sort of heading into that territory, which they would really nail on the next album, just that epic style. Again, Noctambulant sort of has that similar weird production that Battlefields had, but a pretty decent song. Winter of the Ages has just got a very odd, just bam, straight into it. He's singing straight off the bat. One of my favorite little Abbott noises is on this song, particularly just straight after that opening verse. Really, is like, wow, it's really great. Frost Demon Storm is just like total chaos at the end of the album, and pretty much if you blink, this album is over. It's something that you need to sort of play a few times, I think, and maybe pick up on some of the more sort of nuances and stuff like that. In the grand scheme of their discography, it stands out totally, whether it's considered great or good or whatever, but either way, it stands out. It's they never did an album like this prior or after. And heading into the next album, which will go back to back straight into At the Heart of Winter. I will just load up my trusty Metal Archive site so I can get the correct information. But yeah, so recorded in Abyss Studios, which I didn't mind the early Abyss productions, but geez, they got really bad there for a while. And I think Immortal got some of the better productions. This is quite a stock Abyss production for that period, though. But yeah, recorded in November 1998, and basically released, 2 years straight after Blizzard Beast. So yeah, February 1999. Massive change for Immortal. They gained a lot more popularity on this album. Demonaz had left due to his repetitive strain injury, as they'd like to call it on Metal Archives. And you just had the two guys, Abath and Hawg. Abath obviously taking over all the the riff writing and whatnot, and that's probably why there is such a change on this one. Lyrically, Demonaz still doing the lyrics. Despite my gripes with Abyss Productions, this one, it sort of suits the material, I think. And this time you actually get to hear Hawg's drumming in a way more sort of clearer sort of setting, I'd say. And Hawg's not the most he's a very tasteful drummer, I think, but he's not like he doesn't do too much. He's not very busy, but he's perfect for a band like Immortal. Yeah. So what do I remember about this when it was released? I remember the underground sort of being, Immortal have sold out, but then the sort of, I don't want to say normal metal people starting to embrace Immortal because they became more palatable, I'd say, with this album. It's a lot more slower and deliberate, very epic. Like if you take the songs like Blashik and any of their sort of more Bathory inspired material from the past and just make it ultra catchy with great riffs in every song. A more reserved vocal performance from Abath this time. It's definitely not my favorite vocal performance, of his in his career, because it's a lot more lower. He sort of went between, like, he went from his most crazy performance on Blizzard Beast and like sort of grim and raspy and high pitched but he's a lot lower on this one. Yeah. So, and this album also, from what I recall, it sold quite a lot. I think 100,000 copies or something. So it took off, and they were starting to become a lot bigger. And obviously, once we get into the Sons of Northern Darkness period, that's when they're sort of at their pinnacle, I'd say, popularity wise. I'm just gonna have a sip of my coffee. Just give me a sec. I shouldn't be having coffee this late at night. I'll be up all night. But yeah, in Immortal's discography, this is definitely one of my favorites. It's just epic heavy metal of the highest caliber, I think. I think I was watching Heavy Metallurgy the other day. It was like a stream, and they were just talking about random shit. And I think Marty mentioned something about the quality of the guitar riffs, and there being some criticism elsewhere from someone, I can't recall who it was, about the sloppiness of the guitar playing, maybe. Yeah, and it isn't technically perfect guitar playing or whatever, and I get that, but the riff writing is fantastic. And Hawg's drumming on this is just perfect for this material because he's just such a solid, straightforward drummer. He's not technical at all, and this material suits that perfectly. This is definitely one of my favorite Immortal albums. It's just got a great atmosphere to it. As much as I love the early material, I love Diabolical, Full Moon Mysticism, and Pure Holocaust. But this album's got a very special place in my heart, my cold heart. Yeah. So we'll go through the songs and have a bit of a talk about the songs. I mean, Withstand the Fall of Time, absolute classic opener. Just great riff after great riff. A live staple for those guys. Solar Fall, to me, is one of the best songs on the album. Great little breakdowns into clean guitar bits, which there's quite a few clean guitar bits on this album. Sort of, what they sort of started with, I'd say, like in Blashik, that cleanly plucked, not an acoustic sound, but just they had a very particular clean electric guitar sound for the clean stuff. for want of a better description. So yeah, Solarfall, great song. Tragedies Tragedies blows at Horizon, not Tragedies blow at Horizon. Really cool song, probably one of the weaker ones I think on the album, probably the weakest, because it follows up with one of my favorite songs on the album, which is Where Dark and Light Don't Differ. I remember used to play along to this song so much back in my late teens, early 20s. It was just a great guitar track to play along to. Then we got the absolute epic, which is the title track, At the Heart of Winter, which you can't go wrong. Very simple riff leading into even more simpler type riffs, with the verses. It's like dun, 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 really simple sort of stuff, just basic heavy metal, just done in the framework of the epic Immortal with that icy cold sound. And then just really not sort of pushing boundaries or whatever guitar wise, just good songwriting. And that brings me to a point of like, when you think of what other bands in Norway were doing at this period, where they were like branching out and being ultra progressive or just jumping into different genres whatsoever, they've basically gone backwards, into a more traditional heavy metal. There's still some fast sections on this album, but it's just they probably saw, not that Immortal are a band who cared about other things, other things going on around them, but they've obviously just gone, we're going to write a more song-based, catchy, good riffs, getting back to the basics of what traditional or just heavy metal is in general. So yeah, I mean, At the Heart of Winter, great song, really decent solo as well. Not overly well executed, but I'd say probably the pinnacle of Abbott, soloing. I don't really recall many of his solos that sort of stick into my mind, but the one in the song At the Heart of Winter does. Years of Silent Sorrow, it's got some that's a really cool song. Again, it's sort of probably in that Tragedies blows at Horizons area, where it's not like a standout for me, but a fitting end to the album regardless. There's some cool epic riffs in it. So yeah, I think in general, you two albums that sort of were pushing Immortal into different areas, but without the Heart of Winter, it totally catapulted them into a different realm, I'd say, of popularity, and acceptance from the wider metal community, I'd say. So that's that. The first back-to-back, volume 1, we'll call it that. I just thought I'd try something different. If it gets 0 views, I'll understand that, but fuck it. I'm going to try some different stuff rather than just sticking to the tried and true collection updates and ranking videos, because for me, this is, I just love talking about music in general. That's what I get from it, just being able to talk about it. If you got something from this, fair enough. If you didn't, just move on to the next video. Anyway, I'll do another one at some point, and I thank you again for watching. See you next time.